The backend of my social media scheduler is almost done. Authentication, user, media upload, and post creation. But I'm not stopping here. There are two big things left before we can call this complete. Integrating social media account connection and writing unit tests so that this code is solid. So in this video, I will show you what's been built, what's next, and I will give you a brief overview of all the features that I've implemented so far. First, I want to talk progress. The core functionality of the app is pretty much done. As a user, you are now able to sign up, create a new account, log in, have your refresh token, so the authentication module is pretty much done. You are able to upload media, create posts, schedule posts, and manage your content. I have tested this macro feature and I am able to basically complete the happy path from user creation to scheduling a post, and that works pretty much fine. But of course, being in the early stages, everything feels like tailored now. There's no unit testing, so there's poor error handling so far for now. So at the moment, I feel like all the edge cases are not taken into account yet. I need to strengthen the logic around error handling. I need to polish all the edge cases I was talking before. And I will do that towards the end of the development, especially when I will be starting to introduce unit testing. That will be the last step because before doing that, I want to completely finalize all the features that I have in mind. I will probably start integrating Instagram first, and then I will move to all the other platforms such as like YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, any other social media you can imagine. And then I will start implementing unit tests and especially integration tests. And in this video, I just want to give you a brief overview of what has been done so far and pretty much the happy path of how the social media scheduler works. So here we are into the code. In the source folder, there is one folder per module. And if you remember from my previous video about the system design architecture, I had defined one module per feature. So here we are. This module is the one that takes care of user authentication. This one is the one that takes care of sending a verification email after a user signs up. Interceptor is not really a module. Maybe I can spend some time later describing that. Media is to upload and manage your media. Posts is the module that takes care of creating and scheduling a post. Social is the one that helps a user connect their social media account. Once again, it could be Instagram, it could be YouTube, it could be TikTok, X, all the social media that you know. And users is the module responsible for persisting a user account, managing the user account, and eventually deleting a user account. All the modules have a similar structure. There is a controller and a service, at least in each module. The controller is the component that handles the incoming requests. That is the component that basically exposes all the endpoints and the response to specific requests. Once it does, it routes the request to the specific handler, and that is done in the service. For example, let's take the auth. Here we have the auth controller, and this exposes an endpoint that is called sign up, another one that is verify email, login, and so on and so forth. Each of these endpoints routes to a specific method in the service in this module. In this case, the sign up endpoint triggers the sign up on the auth service. And if we dive into this sign up method, what it does, it hashes the password, creates a token that is used to create and send a verification email, and then it creates a user in the user's database with that email and that hashed password. Same thing, for example, the login, it makes a little bit of authentication verification, and then it triggers the sign-in in the auth service. And the sign-in, what it does is it verifies that a user with that email address exists, verifies the token, and then returns an access token and a refresh token. And that completes the login. So on and so forth for all the other methods. Same thing for all the other modules. For example, let's take a look at users. Users have a controller that exposes the following endpoints: get a user by ID, get a user by email, patch a user by ID, which basically means updating the user profile, and then delete an account. And all these endpoints do is the same thing same as in the authentication module. They trigger a method on the service that is contained in this module. For example, in the users module, we have a users controller and a user service. So what this method does is it triggers find one by ID on the user service. And this simply is a lookup call into the database. Pretty much in all the modules, I have also made use of DTOs, which stands for Data Transport Object. And what this does is it's basically it is a sort of validation mechanism for, let's say, like forms. So when a request comes in, for example, let's say that we are responding to a sign-up request, what we want to do is we want to make sure that the incoming data respects this model. So for example, it has a username, an email, and a password. The username is actually optional, so the only two fields that are required are email and password. Same thing for the login. We need to have an email address and a password to be able to log in. And then, for example, here we also have the actual user entity, which is all the fields that pertain to a user. Of course, this is not final. This will need to be expanded as the app grows, but this is the basic structure I have for now. And then here we have uploads folder. That is where all the uploaded media will go. And then we have the database. Let me actually delete the database. So we will start these from scratch, and I'll give you a quick demonstration of this app. Let's start it. Okay, the app is running, and you see we have created the database. So let's now simulate the happy path for a basic flow. So I'm using these request files that simulate all the post and get requests to my endpoints. So here we have the first request, that is a post request to sign up a new user. So I'm using my personal email address, and this is the password. And here, if you go to the database, I actually have to connect to the database. Here we are. And we see that the database is empty. This table, the users table, is empty. So now let me try to send this request. Here we are. And what we get back is a 201. So a user has been created. ID for this user is 1 because, of course, it's the first one. Username is null because I didn't specify anything here. And it used my email address to sign me up. Refresh token is of course null because we didn't log in yet. So let's now verify my email. And if we go here, I should have, here it is. So I received this email verification. Check the link below to verify your email. There you go. Email verified successfully. Let's go back to Visual Studio. And now we should see that a user has been populated in the database. And here we are. This is my password hashed. Refresh token is null because we are not logged in yet, and email is verified. Perfect. So now what we can do is we can try to log in, and I'll do it with a wrong password. And it tells me that I'm unauthorized because this is a wrong password. So let's reset the password to the correct one. And now I should be able to log in. There you go. Access token and refresh token here. Perfect. So now what we have to do is copy the refresh token, which is JWT, and this is what is actually used as a bearer token in the authorization header to authenticate all the requests. So now I've implemented also this test end route, which I'm not going to use in the final version of the app. This is just used for testing purposes. I want to test if I'm able to access protected routes and mask them without authorization token. So let me paste the token we just received. So if I now try to log in, I should be able, because this is the correct token. Let's now try with a wrong token, and it tells me that I'm unauthorized. So if I reset the correct token, once again, I'm authenticated. Awesome. So this works perfect. Let's now try to upload a media. To upload a media, I use the same approach. We'll have to go in the request file for that module, and I have to paste the token here as well. So now I'm uploading this file, which is my profile picture, and it is in one of the folders of my computer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trigger this post request to the upload endpoint, and hopefully it should upload the media. So we should see that it populates here, and it populates also the media table, which is now empty. Let's try it. Seems like it's been uploaded, and yeah, the uploads folder now contains my profile picture. And if we go into the media table, we now see that a new record has been created with ID 1. Type is image, and the user ID this media is connected to is 1. So this means that it is connected to my user. My user is the one with ID 1. Also, let's try to upload multiple so we can make more tests. There you are. So there's 4 now, and we should have 4 here. Of course, it's going to be the same picture, but that doesn't really matter. And these are all connected to my account. So now we can test, for example, get all media for a specific user. So in my case, my ID is 1. So if I specify a different ID, it should return an empty array. Unauthorized? Yeah, because I didn't paste the token. Let me do it now. Okay, empty array. And if I specify 1, which is my ID, I should get an array of 4. And here we are. These are all the 4 images that I uploaded before. Now, let's get a specific media. For example, let's get the one with ID 2, unauthorized. I always forget to paste the token. So there you go. I'm able to fetch the image as well. And now let's try to delete one. So we should see that one of these files is removed from the folder, and the same entry in the database is removed. So let's try to remove the one with ID 3. Delete, unauthorized once again. Media deleted successfully. So here we only have 3 files now. And in the media, we now see that the ID 3 disappeared. So that means that it's been successfully deleted. Let's now move to the posts module, and let's try to create a post. So same request file. Let's try to create a post, and so this request takes a user ID as an input because we want to connect this post to a specific user, media IDs, and a hashtag. For now, let's specify this is my first post. Let's specify this as a caption, and let's put media IDs 1 and 2. So we should now be able to see a post created. ID 1. So now we should see in the post table, we should see this is my first post. Let's now create a new one. This is my second post. Boom. Created. Let's update the table. And now we see that we have 2 posts. This is great. Of course, there are a bunch of things to polish. For example, what I was talking before, I have to validate all this incoming data. For example, I haven't tried specifying here the ID of a media that doesn't exist. So these are things that I need to account for. I haven't tried sending an empty array of media as an input. So all these edge cases is what I need to polish. Also, I just realized that I haven't implemented authentication yet in this module, and I'll have to do it, of course. But so let's try just in real time what happens if I send a request to create a post with a media that doesn't exist. It's actually been created, so this is already wrong. And if I go here, yeah, this is created, and yeah, I probably need to polish this, of course. So all these things will need to be taken care of. But for now, the basic part of the app works really well. So as you have seen, for now, the basic functionalities of the app are there. It works just fine with Happy Path. Now, after adding all the features that I still need to add, the real challenge will be making it really functional, making it really professional, because for now, pretty much any dev could get to the point where I'm at The real step for a professional software engineer will be to take it to the next level. And by that, I mean adding all the extra layers that make it really a professional app that stands out. For example, adding caching, making it very scalable, making it performant, pretty much all those architectural decisions that differentiate average dev from a very professional one. So next week, in the next video, I will start implementing, connecting the social media accounts, and then unit testing. Then, when everything will be done, I will start implementing the front end. I will start from iOS. So if you're interested in following me along this journey, subscribe, and I will see you next week.